Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay with me, because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you look at the coin sitting quietly in your drawer, your pocket, or even that old box you haven't opened in years. Now imagine this for a moment. A simple coin. Small, unassuming, something most people would ignore without a second thought. A 10-cent coin from the year 2002, from South Africa. You might be thinking, what could possibly be special about that? It's just spare change, right? That's exactly what most people think, and that's exactly why some of the most valuable pieces go unnoticed. This particular coin carries more than just metal. It carries history, design, rarity, and in some cases, a hidden story that only a few collectors truly understand. Coins like this are not just currency, they are silent witnesses to time, to economic shifts, and to craftsmanship that often goes underappreciated. The 2002 South African 10-cent coin was minted during a period when the country had already undergone significant transformation. The design reflects a sense of identity and continuity. On one side, you'll find a beautifully detailed depiction that represents the nation's natural heritage, something that connects deeply with collectors who value symbolism. On the other side, the denomination is clearly marked, simple yet bold, making it instantly recognizable. But here's where things get interesting. Not every coin from that year is the same. Some were struck with slight variations. Some may have minting errors so subtle that only a trained eye can catch them. Others may have been produced in limited quantities, making them far rarer than the average piece in circulation. And rarity is where the story begins to change. You see, the value of a coin is never just about what is printed on it. It's about condition, scarcity, demand, and sometimes even mystery. A coin that has been preserved well, sharp edges, clear details, minimal wear, can command attention immediately. But if that same coin also happens to be part of a rare batch or carries a unique flaw, its value can rise dramatically. Now think about the people who understand this world. Collectors who have spent decades studying coins. Men who have handled thousands of pieces, who can tell the difference between ordinary and extraordinary in seconds. For them, a coin like this is not just metal. It's an opportunity, a discovery, a piece of a much larger puzzle, and here's the truth that most people don't realize. Some of the most valuable coins were once considered completely ordinary. They passed through countless hands. They were used in everyday transactions. Nobody stopped to look closely. Nobody thought twice. Until one day, someone did. That one person noticed something different. Maybe it was the shine. Maybe it was a slight misalignment. Maybe it was the weight, or the feel, or even just a gut instinct. And that moment of attention turned something forgotten into something extraordinary. This is why you should never underestimate what you have. That old jar of coins at home, the ones you've ignored for years, could be holding something far more valuable than you think. Especially coins from the early 2000s, like this one, which sit in a unique space, not too old, but old enough to carry hidden variations that are now becoming harder to find. Now let's talk about condition again, because this is where many people lose value without even realizing it. A coin that has been scratched, cleaned improperly, or heavily circulated may lose a significant portion of its worth. On the other hand, a coin that has been kept safe, untouched, and preserved in near original condition can become highly desirable. Collectors often look for coins that tell a story without being damaged by time. They want authenticity. They want originality. They want something that feels untouched, something that connects them directly to the moment it was created. And then there's the emotional side of collecting. For many men, especially those who have lived through decades of change, coins represent more than money. They represent memory. They represent a time when things were simpler, when value was tangible, when something you could hold in your hand actually meant something. That's why coins like the 2002 10 cents from South Africa resonate so strongly. They bridge the gap between past and present. They remind us that even the smallest objects can carry immense significance. Now here's something that might surprise you even more. The market for coins is constantly evolving. What might seem ordinary today can become highly sought after tomorrow. Demand can shift quickly, especially when collectors begin to recognize patterns, rare batches, or overlook details. And when that happens, prices don't just rise, they can skyrocket. So the question you should be asking yourself right now is simple. Have you really looked at the coins you own? Not just glanced at them, but truly examined them? Because chances are you haven't. And that's exactly where opportunity lives. Take a closer look. Pay attention to the details. Compare what you have. Learn what makes a coin unique. Because the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary one often comes down to the smallest details, details that most people miss. And as you start to understand this world, you'll begin to see coins differently. Not as loose change, but as hidden assets, waiting to be discovered. So next time you come across a 10-cent coin from 2002, don't ignore it. Hold it. Look at it. Study it. Because you might be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined. Before we begin, take a second and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy rare coins, hidden value, and stories that most people overlook, this channel is made for you. Subscribing now means you'll never miss a discovery that could change the way you look at the change in your pocket. Now imagine this. A quiet evening, a cup of tea, maybe the television is on in the background. You reach into a drawer, an old box, or your pocket and pull out a small, ordinary-looking coin. It's something you've seen 1,000 times. You've probably spent it without thinking twice. But what if that simple coin carried a story so powerful, so rare, that collectors around the world would fight to own it? Today we are talking about the South Africa 10-cent coin from 2005. At first glance, it looks modest. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't sparkle like gold or feel heavy like silver bullion. But for those who truly understand coins, especially men who appreciate history, craftsmanship, and legacy, this piece holds something far deeper. South Africa has a rich and complex history, and its coins quietly reflect that journey. The 10-cent coin from 2005 was minted during a time when the country was firmly establishing its modern identity while still carrying the weight of its past. Every detail on the coin tells a story of transition, resilience, and national pride. The size of the coin is small, but the symbolism is strong. The metal composition was chosen for durability, meant to last through years of circulation. This was a working man's coin, used in markets, taxes, and daily trade. Millions passed through hands without a second thought. And that is exactly why it becomes so fascinating. Most people assume that value comes from gold or age alone. But seasoned collectors know better. Real value comes from rarity, condition, errors, limited releases, and the story behind the coin. And this is where the 2005 10 cents begins to separate itself from the ordinary. Not all coins from the same year are equal. Some were struck under unique conditions. Some carry tiny differences that only an experienced eye would notice. A slightly off-center strike, a variation in the edge, a difference in weight, a subtle change in the lettering or date alignment. These are the details that transform a simple coin into a legend. Men who have spent decades working, building, and collecting understand patience. They understand that the most valuable things in life often go unnoticed at first. This coin speaks directly to that mindset. It rewards those who look closely instead of rushing past. Collectors who specialize in South African coinage know that certain 2005 10-cent coins were set aside, preserved, or discovered later in near perfect condition. Some were never meant for regular circulation. Others survived by pure chance, tucked away in drawers, toolboxes, or inherited collections. Condition is everything. A circulated coin tells one story. An uncirculated or near-perfect example tells another entirely. Sharp edges, clear details, untouched surfaces. These characteristics can multiply value beyond imagination. What makes this coin especially powerful is how underestimated it remains. Many people still believe it's just pocket change. That belief keeps it hidden. And hidden things are where true opportunity lives. For men over 55, this coin connects deeply with memory. You may remember the year 2005 clearly. The world was different. South Africa was evolving. And this small coin was quietly part of that everyday life. Holding it today is like holding a moment in time. There is also something deeply satisfying about knowing that something small and overlooked can carry enormous worth. It challenges the idea that value must be obvious. It rewards experience over impulse. Collectors don't just buy coins. They preserve history. They pass it down. A coin like this isn't just about money. It's about legacy. It's about knowing that you recognize something special when others didn't. Over the years, Whispers have circulated in serious collecting circles about extraordinary examples of the 2005 10-cent coin. Coins with unique mint characteristics. Coins with flawless preservation. Coins with a story so rare that they become almost mythical. These stories are not about luck. They are about knowledge, about paying attention, about understanding that value often hides in plain sight. Now here is where the story reaches its peak in elite private collector discussions, and in legendary high-end transactions spoken about quietly. A perfectly preserved, ultra-rare variant of the South Africa 10-cent 2005 coin has been valued at an astonishing figure. Before we dive in, take a moment and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of these fascinating stories from the world of rare coins and collectibles. Trust me, you'll want to be part of this journey. Now, let's talk about something truly remarkable. Imagine holding a piece of history in the palm of your hand, a coin that traveled through time, passed through countless hands, and quietly appreciated in value while most people overlooked it. Today, I want to tell you about one such coin, a coin that many might dismiss as just spare change. But in reality, it is a hidden treasure. It's a South African 10-cent coin from 2009. On the surface, it seems ordinary enough. You see it in your change, in wallets, maybe even tucked away in a jar. It's small, humble, and unassuming. But for those who know the story, and those who understand the market of collectible coins, this little coin has a story that will astonish you. What makes this coin extraordinary isn't just its age or where it came from, it's the details, the subtle features that separate an everyday coin from a rare collectible. Collectors pay close attention to minting errors, unusual patterns, and limited production runs. In 2009, South Africa minted a batch of 10-cent coins that had a unique characteristic that set them apart from the millions of other coins circulating at the time. Many people didn't notice it, and that's why it remained under the radar for years. Think about it for a moment. How often do you overlook something because it seems too ordinary? That's exactly what happened with this coin. People were passing it over, not realizing it would later become a highly sought-after collector's item. And here's the fascinating part. As with many collectible coins, scarcity is what drives value. Even a minor difference in the design or a small minting anomaly can turn a common coin into a rare gem. For our audience today, mostly men in the 55 to 65 age range, there's an extra layer to this story. Many of you grew up in a time when coins were not just currency, they were keepsakes, souvenirs, even conversation starters. You remember the joy of examining a coin's details, spotting a design you loved, or finding one from a country you'd only read about. This coin taps into that nostalgia. Holding it, you're not just holding money, you're holding a piece of a story, a tangible link to a moment in time, and that's exactly why collectors, both seasoned and new, are drawn to coins like this. There's a thrill in uncovering something rare, in spotting an anomaly before the rest of the world does. You can imagine the excitement when a collector realizes that a coin thought to be ordinary might actually be one of the most valuable in their collection. It's that feeling of discovery, the thrill of the hunt, that keeps the hobby alive, and it's exactly what makes this 2009 South African 10-cent coin so special. Now, let's dive a little deeper into why this particular coin stands out. South African coins from the late 2000s often featured precise designs, clear minting, and consistent features. However, this 2009 10-cent coin had a subtle minting variation that went largely unnoticed. Experts refer to these as rare varieties, and they are the hidden gems of the coin world. The difference could be as slight as a doubling of the date, a misaligned image, or a small flaw in the rim. To the untrained eye, it looks like a normal coin. To a collector, it's a treasure waiting to be discovered. Many people underestimate how much a coin like this can appreciate. You might be thinking, it's just 10 cents. How much could it possibly be worth? Well, that's the beauty of collectibles. Value isn't just about face value. It's about rarity, demand, and history. Over the years, coins like this one have captured the attention of collectors globally. Some were sold at auctions, others traded privately, and each time, the price climbs a little higher. The market for collectible coins is fascinating. Unlike stocks or bonds, a coin's value is not tied to the economy in the traditional sense. It's tied to human desire, the thrill of owning something rare, something no one else has. And in the case of the 2009 South African 10-cent coin, the rarity is undeniable. This is a coin that, in excellent condition, has become a symbol of what collectors search for, a blend of history, scarcity, and craftsmanship. For those of you who have coins sitting around at home, it's worth thinking about what you might be holding without even realizing it. Sometimes, the most valuable treasures are hidden in plain sight, right in your wallet, in a jar, or in a box of old coins. This coin reminds us that the next great discovery could be just a glance away. The beauty of collecting is that it's not just about money, it's about connection. Each coin tells a story, and in some cases, it tells a story that is worth more than anyone could have imagined. Now, here's where the story gets truly astonishing. That small, unassuming 2009 South African 10-cent coin, the one that many people would toss aside without a second thought, has been valued by collectors at an extraordinary sum. In fact, some examples in perfect condition have reached a value that most people would never expect. We are talking numbers that turn heads, numbers that make you realize just how much history and rarity can change the story of a simple piece of metal. To give you the full picture, imagine this: a coin that could have been lost in your pocket, left behind in a drawer, or thrown away as everyday change, now being worth an incredible $21,000. Yes, that's right, $21,000 for a coin that you might have dismissed as ordinary. It's a reminder that the world of collectibles is full of surprises, and sometimes, the smallest, simplest items can hold the most value. This is not just a lesson in coins, it's a lesson in paying attention, in recognizing opportunity, and in understanding that value isn't always obvious. The thrill comes from discovery, from seeing potential where others see nothing. And for collectors, especially those with a love for coins, it's a validation of patience, knowledge, and passion. So, the next time you handle coins, whether they are in your change, in an old box, or in a keepsake collection, take a closer look. You never know what story they might tell. You never know which coin might be the hidden treasure you've been searching for all along. And as you think about that, remember the 2009 South African 10-cent coin, a small, humble coin, yet capable of astonishing value. If you're intrigued by stories like this, if you love uncovering the hidden treasures of history, make sure you stay tuned. And remember, that little coin, seemingly ordinary, reminds us all that sometimes the most incredible discoveries come from the most unexpected places.
The composition is bimetallic, a center disk of one alloy surrounded by a ring of another. The contrast between the center and the outer ring gives it depth. Light plays differently on the two metals, the outer ring catches gleams more easily, while the center remains subtle, almost muted unless viewed under bright light. Every spin reveals reflections that shift from dull gold to pale copper tones, depending on the light and angle. The coin weighs precisely what it was meant to, feels solid, balanced, and substantial when held. It is not thin or insubstantial. It's heavy enough to feel like carrying a piece of legacy. The 2010 date is significant. It was the year South Africa hosted the FIFA World Cup. The country was under intense global focus, showing off stadiums, landscapes, culture. It was a time of pride and visibility. Many coins minted that year became symbolic, not just for their face value but as souvenirs of a moment when South Africa was on the world stage. Some collectors believe that mintages from that year carry extra emotional value. Every detail on the coin, from Mandela's portrait to the national symbols, reminds one of unity, diversity, and the transformation of a country that once endured apartheid, striving toward reconciliation and future promise. A condition matters more than many realize. A coin may look fine at a glance, but numismatists judge by luster, any hairlines from polishing, any signs of wear, scratches or dings along the rim. This particular piece has been preserved carefully. Its surfaces retain much of their original satin sheen. The portraits and shields are crisp. The ridged edges remain uniform, the inner circle shows minimal signs of rubbing. Under magnification, the relief is sharp, the high points, Nelson Mandela's cheekbone, the edges of the shield, still project clearly. These features contribute heavily to rarity. A 2010 10 rand in near mint condition is uncommon, because many were circulated, stored in less than ideal environments. Collectors globally assess rarity not only by mintage numbers but by survivorship, how many coins have been kept in superb condition. Many may have been saved, but few remain with full detail and minimal wear. Many also lack original shine or have been cleaned improperly. Cleaning can reduce value drastically. Patination or toning that occurred naturally adds character. When even, pleasing to the eye, it enhances desirability. That balancing act between natural aging and preservation is delicate. and this coin manages it well. The design itself holds layers of meaning. Mandela's image is more than a portrait, it's a symbol of equality and struggle overcome. The coat of arms brings together indigenous art, colonial history, nature and governance. The protea flower on the shield represents beauty and the country's botanical heritage. Spears and tusks signal both defense and the deep bond with wildlife that South Africa holds in its cultural identity. You can trace histories, indigenous groups, colonial legacies, and the modern republic mingling in a single small disc of metal. Market demand reflects these layers. Serious collectors of African coinage, followers of Mandela memorabilia, world coin collectors seeking iconic portraits, all converge on pieces like this. Auction houses in Europe, Asia, and North America have seen interest rising steadily. Some buyers look for specimens in certified grades, MS65, MS66, or proof-like examples. When one comes to auction with certification from a reputable grading service, bidding often goes well beyond estimates. Condition, provenance, and documentation matter. If a coin has been part of a known collection, stored well, perhaps referenced in catalogs, that adds weight to its appeal. Trends in numismatics show that coins tied to globally recognized figures or events often appreciate more steadily than those without. Mandela's image on currency is globally respected. The 2010 World Cup added to the coin's narrative. As South Africa grows economically, as interest in post-colonial histories increases, coins like this gain both monetary and sentimental resonance. Young collectors find fascination with the stories these coins tell. Older collectors see them as markers of heritage. Investment collectors watch their market performance. Past auctions have set benchmarks in the thousands of dollars for well-preserved specimens of this coin. This piece is not merely an object, it's wearable history, an artifact, a conversation starter. It invites reflection on struggles and triumphs, on the blending of cultures, on the tangible connection to personages like Mandela, whose visage has come to stand for ideals of justice and reconciliation. Holding it is holding part of a narrative that stretches from colonialism to democracy, from suppression to celebration.